everywhere. You have to sit down and ask.
Hello, welcome. My name is Ovindakon. Welcome. Today I want to share with you technology, processing, and manufacturing. I remember when I was going to do MSc in bioprocess engineering. Sometimes that I came across, product development technology, process development technology, manufacturing technology, machine vision, computer vision, things like that. And I saw that these are the things that Africa needs. If there is anything that Africa has to catch up, it's technology. And it's not just individuals who have this technological skill set or who haven't worked in some of these industries. I'm talking about structured companies that are producing these technologies and that have built plants and companies that produce these things in numbers. I think that these are the things that will help a lot of us. The reason we seem to be lagging is because if you look at from the 16th century to the 20th century, somewhere around 1650 to 1900, the population of Africa was decimated, was destroyed. It only moved from 100 million to 120 million, according to data. But at the same time, Europeans moved from about 100 million to 420 million people, because they were not killing them. They were not destroying them. The Asians moved from about 250 million to about 850 million, which means from 1650 to 1900, because Africa was in war with all the European countries. So it means that even our technology, the technology that we all knew, how to grow rice, smelting, what is the name? Smithing, blacksmith, tie and dye technology, the way that we built our houses, because the others had not moved that much. But because of these attacks, we stopped improving this kind of technologies that we had. So the Europeans then told us that we had to accept their technology, we had to accept their standards. And that has been a battle that we continue to fight. So we did not have time. I remember when we were in school, our professor at KNUST told us that if they had not come, we would have developed our technology. And I believe so. Because looking at the number, that's why when they stopped these things, Africa's population from 1900 to 2000, you see that we just jump. We moved and we crossed the billion, because there was nothing. And if you can imagine, from population will escalate, and if you add another 400 years to it, 500 years, Africa's population will explode, because then there will not be any distraction. So that's why when they say that, the Africans were, it's because a lot of things were impeded to us. So some of the things that we have to pay attention to is being able to modernize our technologies and build more industries. Because this is the way that we are going to create a lot of employment. When you and I are building manufacturing plants, processing plants, building technology companies based on our culture, based on our market, based on the financial strength of our people, based on the things that we have access to, based on the capacity that we have, based on even our government structure. Because then that's how we are going to lift the living standards of our people. That's how we are going to even so-called modernize. Modernization does not mean that we have to be westernized. It only means that we have to develop the ones that we have, the technology that we have, the culture that we have, the things that we have. We just will have to improve them. Technology does not belong to any one particular race per se. It belongs to all of us, because any technology that was developed is from one civilization to the other, and so the things that we can copy that will help us, we need to look at them and copy them. And that's why you, myself, everybody included, we should be looking at how do we build a lot of factories in manufacturing, in processing, in technology, in engineering, across board, in all industries, whether it's agriculture or agro-processing, whether it's construction, real estate, whether in retail, in pharmaceuticals, in automobile, in mining, in oil and gas, in data analysis, in technology, in the metaverse. They are trying to rush us into those in electronics, in computers. All of us, every one of us must start to build. If you have any skill set in any of these area, you have to look at how you can build a structure around it. And a lot of the times when you're looking at building structures around some of these things, it means being able to incorporate it into a business. Because that's how one individual is so difficult for one individual with some technical expertise to beat a company. Because if a company wants to come out with a product, is a product from every one of the team, and sometimes even from other companies who are also feeding them with different kind of parts and technology and support systems. So we are thinking of produce something without mastering how to build structure and corporations and companies around some of these expertise. So sometimes you can see somebody who say that the young man has come out with let's say a small miniature car or a small something, and we say that they are genius. But for you to mass produce that, the skill set for you to move that understanding to producing a lot of cars that to help people is different from just being able to put some parts together to form a car. Now you have to teach that young man how to build a business around it. And I think that is where a lot of the times we find some kind of difficulties. We find some kind of difficulties. So we should study manufacturing. Whether you have the supporting degree or you don't have a degree, we live in a world that you can teach yourself on YouTube. You can go to another company. If you could train a lot of the business people around Swami, to say that, can you build a plant, no matter the size. The other time we were in some place in Asia, and you go to the manufacturing plant and it's not so technical, it's not so complex. We went to some place that they were making buses. It's not so complex, but they were doing it. And I could see the same kind of setup in our country. The determination, even if you don't have government support, the determination to get a lot of us to say that let's give it a try. Young men and women in Africa must look at manufacturing, technology, processing, engineering, not just from the personal position, not just from the individual level, but as companies. We are thinking of building companies like this without waiting for our government. Building a plant, building a manufacturing plant. I have a young man, Jeffrey Apiaje, and he has been able to build milling machines, what is it? Some agriculture. He's an agric engineer. Agric machines. He's been able, with his boys, he's been able to put a lot of their resources together. It's not a product from one individual. He's been able to put a lot of his mates, a lot of his friends together. They design it, they fabricate it, they buy some of the part, and they are producing these machines to help farmers. Now, if he continues to do this, nobody knows where, and he runs the business well. And if he starts to understand how businesses run well, and he does them just beyond engineering, you'll be able, nobody can tell where he will be in the next 20 years, in the next 30 years. And can we imagine having thousands of Jeffrey going into that? So somebody is looking at combine harvester, somebody is looking at tractors, somebody is looking at milling machines, somebody is looking at harvesting machine, harvesting, I'm forgetting, harvesting, harvesters combined, any other implement or equipment or tools that is needed in the agri sector. If you have a lot of them, hundreds of them, those that we are producing from Common University, if we just condition them that go and start something, go and produce something, go and start to produce something with machines, and the other people are looking at, how can we turn the tomato from a Commandant into a Prairie? How can we turn the orange from another place into orange drink? If we can push a lot of them to think like this, that let's give it a try, and if we have hundreds of them trying, at least we will get 1 or 2 or 3% of them being able to build a business around it. And that is what is going to push us into modernization, into a lot of employment, into urbanization, whether you like it or not. If that young boy finishes school in his village, he's not going to stay there. He will move to the city. So we should be prepared for this, that the responsibility is on all of us to start to look at this as the only way out for our continent. So my name is Opendako. Being able to modernize, our rice farming, people weaving basket. Can we look at putting machines around that industry? Kente, for instance, can we look at modernizing some of it so that we can produce more at a cheaper rate, that we can feed a lot of, we can supply the market. Chinese are doing it. It's not that it's so complex. Maybe you can say that their government is supporting them. That's true. You never know if the government will come in, but we cannot wait. Sit down to say that no, this is how we did it 10,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago, 500 years ago, 2 years ago, 20 years ago, so we continue to do it the same. No, we have to bring technology, and that's why they sent us to school. So whichever industry that we are in, let's create, because that is what is going to develop us, and we must see these things as our responsibilities. We must see these things as our responsibilities. So my name is Opendako. Today I am talking about technology, manufacturing, and processing. I'm saying that young men and women must look at this. There are a lot of countries around the world now where young men and women are looking at how do we go into manufacturing, how do we go into processing, how do we set up technology companies in every sector of the economy. We cannot sit down and complain that the Chinese are doing what I'm saying here. When we sit in our office and and looking for a job, it's not the job. We have to think differently to say, what can I do? What can I produce? What can I package? What can I change? The cocoa is there. We have a lot of resources. The responsibility is not so much that we don't have the financial support. No. Sometimes they say, wherever there is a will, there is a way. I so much believe in that. Wherever there is a will, there is a way. Wherever there is a will, there is a way. If we are determined to do it, we will do it. Whether somebody comes in to help, whether the government comes in to help, or the government does not come in to help, we will be able to do something because it is our responsibility. It is our responsibility. Our population is going to explode. In no time, Africa will be, or Africans around the world, Africans and everybody who looks African, who has an African ancestry, will be more than 50% in no time. If you are not more than that, and can you add another century to it, we will be just 80-90% in the next 500 years, I suppose, of the world's population. We will be spreading everywhere, and we cannot sit to say that the minority should continue to should be the richest. No, there has been a global empire, global agenda that have been perpetuated by Europeans and Americans for the last 500 years, and it's through industries, through trading, it's through their institutions, and they will attempt to continue to do that. Now, if you look at countries that have developed, there's sharing of technology. There's sharing of manufacturing processes, in all these industries. And they intentionally kept those things from us. They actually fight us from building our own manufacturing plants. They come up with all kind of standards, all kind of laws to say that you can do that. It's inferior. We just and if you look at the way our continents our countries have been separated, it's not much that, but the individuals can wake up to say that we have to do this. It can start from agriculture, can start from farming. You can go to any area, you can produce both, not spanners. Let's look at it, because it's not far. If others are doing it, what is so strange? It's not far. It's not our people who are working in these factories. The difference is the structures that they have built to run these factories, and that's why we have to take them. So it's not just enough for you to be an engineer. You also have to learn how to build a system around mass production, being able to put a lot of companies and individuals together to work towards a common production goal. So we have to look at that, and we have to think that is needful, is important. Our future depends on it. That you go into the fashion industry, said I'm going to produce bags, I'm going to produce beads, I'm going to produce shoes, jewelry. We have gold here, and yet we buy gold that has been made in China and they import them all the time. No, we have to look at it. We are importing bed sheets, all this from some other places. A lot of our young men and women, it does not matter how you start. A lot of us will fail along the way, but the few not just even a few. A lot of us will also succeed. If you stay in it for 10 years, for 20 years, we will fight. And it's not just for our comfort. As I said in the other video, sacrifice, it's not for our comfort, it's for our survival, our collective prosperity, our collective growth, our collective wealth. That is what we are looking at, and so look at it, think about it, start something, steady, train yourself. Don't sell yourself short to say that we can do it. We can do it. Who said that we cannot do it? They did it. The Japanese have done it. The Indians have done it. The Chinese have done it. We must be conscious of doing this, and that is our way out. So I want to say thank you very much for taking your time to watch this. Manufacturing, processing, and technology. Think about this. Think about it. And I dare say that we have to produce a lot of people from our universities, and the government is doing something that is that significant, building science, technology, engineering, mathematics, secondary schools. That's serious. That's a game changer. I can't wait for the next 50 years what these young minds will do to move our country forward. Nobody can hold Africa down. That's what I can tell you. They can try everywhere. We would, because at the end of the last century, 1900, Africa's population was around 120 million. Check it. And now for another century, look at where we are, and nobody can stop us. So they can fight, they can do whatever they want to do, but the future rests with Africa. As a matter of fact, the future of the world is in the hands of the Africans. Without us, the world is not going anywhere. So study this. It's not just a saying, it's there. You can see it, it's there. So thank you very much for taking your time to watch this. Thank you very much for taking your time to watch this.